You may recognize it as just a film cam, but it's more than just a film cam. It's a Kodak film cam. It's a Kodak film cam that has a yellow top. This was classic Kodachrome film cams that were being sold by a company who just went bankrupt. What, yesterday? Day before. Filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So I have a roll of film here that I thought I'd share. I actually wish it was a roll of Kodachrome. It's not. It's Ektachrome. I looked through my stack and did not find a roll of Kodachrome because I guess I don't have a roll of Kodachrome. But there's that. Shortly after I joined the faculty at BYU, this digital revolution started to take place. I taught the history of photography for most of the years that I was at BYU. And one of the lessons that we talk about in the history of photography was photographers who are stuck in the old medium and just have a real hard time making the transition to new medium. Daguerrean artists had a real hard time accepting wet collodion. Wet collodion photographers had a real hard time when dry plate came out. I mean, it's just been a constant evolution of photographers rejecting the new technology. I fit very comfortably into that description. I had a real hard time accepting digital photography, but I did over the time. How many of you were in the program when we required you to have a 44 megabyte Bernoulli disk? Here's my 44 megabyte Bernoulli disk that has some incredible photographs on it. And I have no way to retrieve them. We made the incredible jump from 44 megabyte Bernoulli disks to a 250 megabyte zip drive. Another form of technology that I cannot retrieve today because my zip drive has died. So I have that. As we made progress in photography, little by little, we've gone over to these little things to capture, to store our imagery. This, you can't see it from where you are, but this is amazing. This is a 15 megabyte flash drive. 15 megabytes. The camera I have today would maybe fit half of a picture on this. In comparison, as long as I've got it out, and I have to be careful with this because it's not actually mine. Here's a little thumb drive that's 64 gigabytes. When I joined the faculty at BYU, gigabyte had not been coined as a term. Megabyte, I think, had barely been coined. And I'm trying to remember, who remembers what, what's his name from?
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates. Bill Gates said we never would need more than how many megabytes? 64? We'd never need more than 64 megabytes. Well, there's 15 of it. 250. We'll never need more than that. But here's 64 gigabytes. And I gotta be careful, I gotta put that back so I don't lose it. Here's another thing that some of you may or may not be familiar with. This is a package of Polaroid film. Still in the package. I'm a little worried about even taking it out of the package because it's probably worth more in the package unopened than it is if I take it out and try to run it through a camera. Sorry, Rachel, to show that to you because I know you want it. Polaroid. A company that designed and manufactured that camera, how could it possibly go bankrupt? A Kodak disc camera, disc 4000. This is what's happened since I joined the faculty at BYU. We look at it and I'm thinking, you know, as I bring these things out, when I joined the faculty at BYU, we were still doing film, and very religiously so. And over the 21 years that I've been at BYU, we have made almost a complete transition from film to digital. In that time, this company no longer exists. This company has filed for bankruptcy. Kodachrome was the first thing to go, if I remember right, or was it black and white paper? How many of you remember using Kodak polycontrast paper? It's gone. Black and white paper went, Kodachrome went, Kodak went, Polaroid went. This is what I've accomplished as a faculty member of BYU. I've overseen the demise of the entire industry. Hopefully many of you will appreciate this little device. Before I do that, this pops up. This is my very first camera. This is a camera that I got when I was about 10 or 11 years old out of a sugar daddy's coupon. Sugar babies, I still think they make, but I'm not sure. Sugar daddies, it's, you know, it's a caramely kind of a sucker thing that'll pull your teeth out if you're not careful. I used to like those, and I'd send away for this camera through a coupon in Sugar Daddies, and I still got it. So that's precious, more so than the disc camera. Okay. I would say most of you have labored through a class that I've religiously and just loved to teach. And that's the zone system class, large format photography, and all the things associated with it that I've grown to love and force down your throats. One of the classes, and I've got to tell you, I don't remember exactly which one it was, gave me this focusing cloth, which I have kept and shared with every class since then. And as I put it on, this is a focusing cloth, but it's a little more focusing cloth than probably most of us are familiar with. But on this focusing cloth are the words super swagger. Who wants to jump up and tell us what swagger means, or super swagger? What is a swag estimate?
Some wild-ass guess.
Some wild-ass guess. I wanted to make sure you got to see that one more time, and maybe you want to see it many more times, but it's here and it's precious to me, and I thank you for it. A few other things that have happened over the years that I want to just remind you of. This represents, even though I haven't seen it yet, a gift from you that I will cherish. Over the years, I've had a lot of other gifts given to me. I didn't bring, well, I only brought one to share with you tonight. There's a lot that I could have brought, but I did bring one, and it's over on the table here. It's my photo student Ken doll. Mark Hedengren gave that to me. I don't know if Mark's here. It's the only photo student Ken doll I've ever seen, but it's just classic. And when I got it, I thought, don't take it out of the wrapping. If you take it out of the packaging, it's just another Ken doll. But in the packaging, it's a photo student Ken doll. And that photo student Ken, if you took a look at it, is a traditional photographer with a single lens reflex camera. There's a auxiliary, about 200, 300 millimeter lens that Ken has. There's some developing trays, and there's some little prints. And those little prints produce pictures. In the right conditions, they will produce a picture. Now, I've never taken them out to find out if that's true, but it's interesting that over the years, as the humidity changes or the heat changes, pictures actually appear on those little things. They're black right now, aren't they, Paul? They're black right now, but there's a picture that appears. It's a picture of Barbie. Nude. Which doesn't impress me, because I'm the father of 4 daughters, and I picked up naked Barbie dolls my whole married life. But those are some of the things that I appreciate very much. The gifts, the acknowledgments, the fun that we've shared. These pictures that Paul showed tonight represent for me the fun times that we have had. We've had a lot of good times. 21 years, we had an annual Christmas party. Not all of those were at my house, but a lot of them were. And in those parties, we've shared prints, we've shared stories, we've shared experiences. And I thank you for that. We've gone on a lot of field trips together. Early on our field trips, I'll probably ask you again, how many of you experienced this with us when we picked up a van at BYU and drove to San Francisco or Los Angeles? Or, I think did we drive it to Seattle, or did we start flying when we went to Seattle? But anyway, we took vans to, on those early trips, right from BYU. It's a long drive across the Nevada desert. And there we'd be in 2 or 3 vans going across the desert. And I'm the leader. My van goes first. I never drove the vans, because the very first trip I went on, I got a ticket in Beaver. So I said, I'd never drive a van again. So I let the students drive and let them get the tickets. We're driving across Nevada, and one of the vans decided they're going to overtake the old man's van. And we're zipping along Nevada, straight freeway there, I-80, I-80 across Nevada. And this van's coming up the left-hand side, the driver's side, and I see it coming up the driver's side. And on a lark, I said to the driver, take this exit. It's one of those exits that you can just take, go up over the stop sign, go right back onto the freeway. So it's just, we didn't even stop. We just went off the exit, up over and right back down. But I'll tell you, the driver of that van, I think it was Marion Yance, and I don't know if Marion's here. It seems like it was Marion Yance that was driving that van. And I loved the panicked look on her face when we exited and she couldn't. But then we came right back on. Lester, you still there? Where? Lester's here. Lester's one of my famous drivers on these trips. We're in Seattle. And I can't remember what Lester was doing, but we had a quick exit. And Lester had to cross 3 lanes of, what is it, I-95 or I-90, whatever it is up there. He's crossing 3 lanes. And I thought sure he was going to kill a whole van full of people. But Lester made it. He made it. You saw a couple of pictures of people that we would visit on these trips. I look back on this and I'm amazed at the people we were able to visit. Some of the people that have let us come in and spend time with us. There's an Arnold Newman photograph, or a picture of Arnold Newman that you saw in here. Several of the people in New York, which are phenomenal experiences that we've had. People in Los Angeles, people in San Francisco, Seattle. We've had some great times. We've had some great experiences together. It is fun to reminisce. It is fun to share those experiences. It is fun to look into your eyes and realize we've done a lot of things together over the last 21 years. And what I wanted to do tonight, in just remembering a few of those and reminding you of some of the experiences that we've had, is to say thank you. Thank you for sharing these experiences with me. Thank you for keeping me young. Thank you for letting me into your lives. As Paul says, I don't teach photography, I teach photography students. And one of the amazing things that's happened to me me over the last 21 years is not only have I been able to talk with you about photography, but I've been able to talk to you about life and the things that are important in life. Paul points out that I went on a mission, and in that mission I became interested in photography. I had an opportunity, kind of a lifetime goal of playing professional baseball. And some of you have heard this story, but I want to share it again one more time. I had an opportunity to play professional baseball right out of high school, but I also made a commitment that I would serve a mission. And so following the counsel given in the Sermon on the Mount, seek ye first the kingdom of God, I decided to do a mission first, and the baseball would be there when I got back. Baseball was indeed there because I had a scholarship waiting for me at BYU. It lasted for a little over a year. I threw my arm out. My hitting never came back. But I'd been introduced to photography on my mission, and I was taking classes at BYU that turned out to be my life's vocation. I've looked back on that decision many, many times and realized that every good thing that's happened to me in my life has been based on that decision, to seek first the kingdom of God. All of you are part of my life because of that decision. I'm convinced that the doors were open to me at the University of Utah to get into graduate school. As Paul points out, a kid with no degree applies to graduate school, and I was accepted and got the degree, which made it academically possible for me to teach at BYU. 2 years after I was accepted to graduate school, I was invited to write a letter of support for another person who wanted to be able to do the same thing. I wrote a letter. The dean turned down that application. The chair of the department said, wait a minute, you accepted Telford, why won't you accept this guy? And the dean said, had I been dean when Telford applied, I would not have accepted Telford's application. It was a very narrow window that allowed me to get into graduate school and pursue what I've been doing for the last 21 plus years. Now again, I'm grateful to you. Thank you for being here. Enjoy this evening. I hope you've had some refreshments. I hope you've been able to look at some pictures and remember great times that we've had together. I want to do one last thing here in my little bag of stuff. Hope you all notice this is a yellow Kodak bag. These aren't available anymore. I picked up this window sticker several years ago at the San Diego Center for Photography. It says, I stop for photographs. If you can't read it, I stop for photographs.